Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to day 15 of Advent of Cyber 2025. Today we're working on web attack forensics, drone alone. This will actually, it's combination of web security and some SOC analysts. Explore web attack forensics using Splunk, exactly. So we're still using Splunk. There was a day we're still using Splunk in this Advent of Cyber 2025. I've already spawned my machine. Let's get started. I'm going to be using OVPN, so I'll make sure VPN is connected. Yes, so I'm going to sudo open VPN, magnify so that you see, just to make sure all works well. Perfect, initialization sequence completed. So you can now access, it's perfect. I'm not going to access this. I'm going to copy that, open it in a new tab. I'm avoiding to use attack box. The username is blue, password is this. Let it load up first. Username is blue with a capital B. Password. Not now. Let it load up first. That's Splunk. So in this series, you're actually going to be learning how to do some forensics on web attacks. It's more like trying to understand how web attackers work and how they actually compromise your website and platforms. So let this load up first. Our first command will be doing our first query will be this: detect suspicious web commands. So in this tab, let's search for HTTP requests that might actually show malicious activity. That is the query. And notice what we are dealing with. It's Windows Apache access, right? And it's actually going to check for CMD or PowerShell. And this is how you want to filter your output: the table time and the host client IP, URL path, all that. So we copy this whole query. First, I want to change this to all time. Then I want to input my query there. That was straightforward. And you have your statistics. You have your four output logs. And notice you have this CMD. Let me magnify so that you can see well. CMD PowerShell.exe. This one dealt with PowerShell. Remember, we were actually filtering either PowerShell or CMD. So this one had intervened with PowerShell. This one had CMD, and the other two still had PowerShell. And notice there's something about this. I want to copy this. This is more of an encryption. I'll decode it using Cyberchef. Others might tend to use base 64 decode, because these are base 64 encoding. So if you want to get the real output of this, the real characters behind it, you have to decode it. I'm going to be using Cyberchef. This will be my input, right? So, and from base 64, I'll highly recommend you using this tool. It's actually perfect. Notice this is now mine, more ha ha ha, right? So that actually makes sense. All these others, this one had no encryption. Notice it had no encryption, so CMD was clean. And notice we have all that exactly. So in this, they used base 64 decode, so it actually still works the same. You can actually access this site. I like using Cyberchef because it has all encryptions, all rotations, all that, all formats you need to work on. If you want to convert to base 32, actually with work with base 32, just as simple as that. Move that to the recipe. So it's actually, I prefer using that. So next step, we want to look for server-side errors or command in execution in Apache error logs. Notice one thing: if you want to actually do some detection to notice what happened, most likely an attacker will actually have some error somewhere. They will never go clean 100% sure bet of how they are moving. They must do some enumeration, they must hit some dead ends. So whenever they're hitting some dead ends, there must be errors, right? So as a forensics, you have to check errors they might encountered. And remember, the system actually keeps track of all the errors. So you copy that. We use that under our query. We run that, and we get 3 of them. Notice now you're not having CMD, right? So you actually notice there's something wrong. CMD is not there now, but PowerShell is still there. This is the one that was giving errors. So they tried as much as possible using so these actually are programs, PowerShell.exe. And notice this will actually be a critical hint of whatever we're doing here, of the investigation we're doing here. And right now I'm just using as a list. Notice we can now change the view as a row. And notice we now have the full error as it occurred to them. So you have the time, the timing, everything. We have everything we need. Process ID. Sorry for that. Process ID, even the client IP address. And this is the program that give them some error. We can now move to our next step. We have to trace the malicious process creation from Apache, right? Because we are just dealing with Apache here. Notice that. So we can use this. This is a parent image. You must understand what a parent image is. Yeah, we have all this. And we can now move this because we have this. To understand this might be a little bit cumbersome. So you can view, instead of also a list will still be cumbersome. You just change it again to a table format. It now makes sense. It now seems good in the human eye. You can now understand it. You can see the time frame, the event code, the time, the computer, web server. So that's why we're dealing with Apache. Notice we are dealing with the web app server. The specific one, this Apache 24. The specific one. Once we notice that, typically Apache should only spawn worker threads, only system processes like CMD or PowerShell, right? Or not system processes like CMD or PowerShell, because when you're dealing with Apache, you're not actually dealing with a command line. Why will you be running command line with using Apache? So that's actually a very big red flag. Once you see this CMD, all that, httpd.exe, this CMD, it's actually a red flag. So it indicates a successful command injection where Apache executed a system command, right? So confirm attacker enumeration activity. One thing you need to understand now, if you see this, whatever you're talking for the next stage, confirm attacker enumeration activity. As I said, when you're doing this forensics, you have to understand the attacker's view. Notice when we were searching for error, we actually know it's a logic. The attacker can't be 100%, like they can't gain access to a system and not get an error. Second thing, when they actually gain access to a system, they must do some enumeration. The enumerations include always who am I, to know what kind of user they are currently. The second one, logically, you have system information. They can run the commands to check the system information to actually know what they are dealing with. This is actually more of the second to get more specifics, if to get the operating system they're dealing with, to get the versions of systems they're dealing with, so that if you get a version they're dealing with, you can know if there's a vulnerability, a CV for that version of system they're dealing with, then they can exploit it. So logically you can have this who am I. So when they have the CMD command prompt, they'll use who am I. So this is the next query we're dealing with now. I'll clear all that. So here we'll check where in CMD they run the command who am I. Notice the command line who am I. So it still gives some suspicions. Attackers often use the who am I command immediately after gaining code execution to determine which user account their malicious process is running as. Finding this events confirm the attacker's post-exploitation reconnaissance, showing that the injected command was executed on the host, right? So they executed the commands. So identify by 64 encoded PowerShell encryption payloads. This one is actually more of like the last step we're dealing with here to check how secure our system is. So a system should not allow such. So we're just confirming it. So system monitors. The image is the PowerShell.exe. You remember the parent image we had. So command line, move like encryption, encoded command or base 64, right? We don't get any of them. So remember, on our first step we got some encryption. So the server, actually the user tried to run it, but the server didn't run it on the back end. Notice we are trying to check the system monitors. The system itself, it did not run the command, but the user tried to run the command from it. That's why they were getting, you can all see the next step was getting the errors. So we'll actually move forward to the questions. What is the reconnaissance executable file name? What is the reconnaissance executable file name? You can check it from here. We had the previous one. whoami.exe. This is executable file name. That's correct. So what executable did attacker attempt to run through command injection? We had previously, we saw the commands, the executable that were tried to run was CMD in PowerShell, but the attacker tried to run PowerShell specifically. So you can .exe. So the first answer is whoami.exe, and the second answer is PowerShell.exe. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one. Happy hacking.